everybody, JC here from Toy News International, and today I'm coming at you with another quick news video. I'm trying to get caught up on the news, with Toy Fair and everything. There's a lot of stuff that's been coming out, and then just news that's come out since Toy Fair. So first thing, I want to talk Marvel Legends, and first thing I want to tell you about is for those of you who are interested in that Walmart exclusive Marvel Legend Thanos figure. It's a repaint of the comic book version that was done as a Build-A-Figure a couple years ago. That is hitting shelves now. That's the one that has the alternate head sculpt, also has the Infinity Gauntlet, and then the alternate non-Infinity Gauntlet hand. And again, it is hitting shelves now. I've gotten multiple reports from people around the country finding it. I've seen some pictures. It does not look like this figure is going to be terribly hard to find. Walmart seems to be getting it in pretty good numbers. And the funny thing about it is the cost is only actually between $18 and $19, which is weird. I would have actually expected it to be more than a normal Marvel Legend, being it is basically a Build-A-Figure, but it's actually a little bit cheaper. So if you want to find that figure, I will put the UPC number down in the comments section. So if you use like Brick Seeker or something like that, it'll help you with your search. And good luck if you're trying to find it. I checked Brick Seeker to see if my local stores had gotten it, and of course they hadn't, but they're always the last to get anything, so I'm not terribly surprised. Okay, now while we're on the subject of Marvel Legends, we do have some actual new news that beyond Toy Fair that has surfaced online just last night. So this past weekend, we told you about and showed you some press images of the upcoming Target exclusive 2-pack based on the Black Panther movie with the Agent Ross, and that's just the Agent Coulson mold with a new head sculpt on it, repainted. And then the Killmonger figure is the second figure in that set. That's basically the same Killmonger figure that we got in the regular Black Panther wave, only now you're getting that alternate unmasked head. But the thing with these new images that have shown up, and I don't know where these showed up at, looks like overseas. I don't know the original source of the image itself, and I don't know where the image was taken. There is a watermark on the image, but it's in a language I can't read, so unfortunately, again, I just don't know what the source is. But it is making the rounds on social media and everything. And unlike at Toy Fair, where they didn't actually have this set on hand, we just saw the press images. Wherever this was taken, they did have the actual set out on display, including the figures in package. Now, it's the packaging that is actually what makes this newsworthy, because if you notice on the package up in the top right corner, there is a Build-A-Figure logo. And so it looks like this set is going to include Build-A-Figure pieces, which is something we've never seen with the 2-packs before. And you can see the pieces in between the two figures. It looks like an extra pair of legs. Now, some people are speculating, they've been playing around with Photoshop. It's really blurry, so it's hard to tell 100%, but it looks like in that Build-A-Figure logo, it says Stan Lee, which is leading people to believe that the set is going to include pieces to a Stan Lee figure. Now, if that's true, and I'm kind of inclined to say it is, but of course that's not confirmed, but if that's true, then it remains to be seen where the remaining pieces will show up. Now, there are rumors, of course, and I believe these come from store computers that people have found. And these 2-packs, the rumors of these actual 2-packs, I've actually seen multiple times. And the 2-packs, so essentially there's going to be a total of 3 2-packs released, the Black Panther one, and then 2 Avengers Infinity War 2-packs. And these are all going to be Target exclusives. And the other 2 sets are going to include Winter Soldier and Falcon. And I have no idea if these are just going to be repaints of the previous figures we got, or if these will be brand new figures. I'm leaning towards repaint, especially looking at the Black Panther set, but again, I can't confirm that. And then the second set is going to come with a Doctor Strange and Tony Stark figure. And again, I can't confirm, anything about whether these are new sculpts. I'm guessing, probably going to be modifications of the Doctor Strange movie figure. And then the Tony Stark figure will probably be, once again, using that Agent Coulson body mold with the Tony Stark movie head sculpt on it. Just my guess, but we'll have to wait and see. If it's Infinity War, it would be better if he's wearing like the t-shirt and stuff, maybe has sunglasses, but that would require probably a totally new figure, and I'm not sure if they're going to go that far with these. Nevertheless, though, these are rumored to have the remaining pieces for the Stan Lee Build-A-Figure, and the Winter Soldier Falcon 2-pack is going to have the torso section, and then the Iron Man Doctor Strange 2-pack is going to have the head sculpt for Stan Lee. And I don't know exactly which version of Stan Lee. I believe it's going to be based on one of his appearances in one of the movies, one of the MCU movies, but I don't know exactly which one. maybe Captain America, but even if it's Captain America, I don't know which Captain America film, so we'll just have to wait and see. But definitely, if you're a Stan Lee fan, this is probably something you'll be interested in. And if you weren't, if you thought that that Black Panther 2-pack wasn't enough there to warrant paying $40 for, and that's how much these will cost, just $40, now you might have to reconsider that. I don't have release dates. I'm guessing the Black Panther 2-pack will be out first, probably within the next month or so, and then followed by the Avengers Infinity War sets. It's also possible they could all come out at the same time. I really don't know. I have no kind of release date information on those at this time. And in other Marvel Legend rumored news, we got a breakdown for the second wave of Avengers Infinity War figures. So we had seen a few of these comic book based ones at Toy Fair. We'd seen the Black Knight figure, which will have 2 alternate heads, and then the Malekith figure, which is a repaint of the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive version. And then they also showed us, for the movies, the Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, Ant-Man and Wasp are not getting their own movie wave. They're just being incorporated into this Avengers one. But beyond that, we had not seen anything at Toy Fair. Hasbro had indicated that the remaining figures in the wave would be movie-based, but we didn't know which ones. But now, thanks to a UK e-tailer named Comics and Cocktails, we're getting a listing for what seems to be the remaining figures. Now, this is not 100% confirmed. However, this retailer does seem to have a pretty good track record of posting these things. So, like I said, not 100% confirmed, but decent chance this is what we'll end up seeing. So the remaining figures for this wave are going to be a new Black Widow figure, which I assume will have the blonde hair, and then a new Thor figure, which I'm assuming will have the Stormbreaker weapon like we are seeing with the basic figure that's hitting shelves now. There's also a roleplay item of that out there. And that's basically the new hammer with, I guess, Groot's using a part of Groot or something for the handle. That's what indications seem to be. And then also the Build-A-Figure for this wave is said to be Black Dwarf. So that's one of Thanos' henchmen, part of the Black Order. We've seen statues of him from the movie that Marvel showed last year. And he, again, is supposed to be in the movie. And that looks like what the Build-A-Figure for this wave will be. So again, not 100% confirmed, but based on, Hasbro seems to be going heavy on the movie figures this year. So this wave definitely seems to be in keeping with that. Okay, moving on to non-Marvel Legend news, but sticking to Hasbro, I wanted to share some images that Hasbro released yesterday for their upcoming vintage collection Jabba Sail Barge. So I talked about this last week during Toy Fair. This was announced there. This is a very big endeavor that they're taking on. They're basically using crowdfunding, or what I essentially call pre-order. I mean, we call it, crowdfunding, but essentially they're taking pre-orders for this, and they need to get a certain number of committed people buying it before they say they're willing to go forward with production on it. So crowdfunding, pre-order, whatever you want to call it, it is essentially the same thing Mattel used to do with their Matty Collector and Masters of the Universe. They did the exact same thing with their Castle Grayskull playset. So now Hasbro is taking a page from that and doing it with Star Wars. Again, I talked about it in more detail last week. If you want more information, you can go to haslab.com. I'll put a link in the video description below. But that's where you go to basically place your order for it. And you get like a book and everything. But the toy itself, it is a very impressive toy. Now, the debate comes, should they have gone with a Jabba sail barge, or should they have done something else like a Death Star? My feeling is a Death Star would have given you more display options, or something along that lines, an Imperial base of some type, Star Destroyer, Death Star. Basically, my feeling, a playset of this type, it's better if it goes up as opposed to out. More people, I think, have space to display stuff that, is taller rather than wider. I personally don't really have any place to display a 4-foot long sail barge. I can put it on my table for reviewing, but I have no place to actually, I don't have a big enough table unless I wanted to stick it on my kitchen table or my dining room table, which I don't think my wife would be terribly happy about. I really have no place to display something like that. And I think many of you are kind of in that same boat. My thing with this is I don't have a problem with Hasbro going the crowdfunding route, which again is essentially a pre-order route. My thing about this is I think they should have, they do these fan choice votes all the time, and to me this would have been a perfect fit for that. If you want the fans, the collectors to flip the bill for this, then you should have put it to a vote and asked them what they wanted to see first. And my feeling is, had you put Death Star in there, that would have won hands down over anything else. But as it is, they decided to go for whatever reason with the Jabba sail barge. Now, these images definitely show it's very detailed. There's the gallery, there's the brig, there's the armory, there's a cockpit that holds 2 figures, there's a place for Jabba. It does come with the Jabba the Hutt figure, and you know, there's a lot of space on top to display figures. It's got cloth sails, I believe, is soft good type sails, I believe it's supposed to have. So, you know, rotating cannons and everything. So definitely it's a very detailed, very authentic looking playset. It does cost $500. Now at the time I'm filming this, they have 1,856 people who have already purchased this, and they need 5,000, and basically they need that 5,000 within the next 38 days. Now, 1,856 isn't too bad, being this has only been going for about a week. However, I would say that being as there was this huge media push for it, I mean, I think every media outlet, you know, even the big corporate media outfits covered this during Toy Fair, and, you know, it's only sitting at, it didn't even get halfway there. So to me, that's actually not a terribly good sign. That being said, I have little doubt that this won't end up going through some way, somehow. Hasbro seems to be putting a huge amount of effort into this, that they would just go, okay, we're not going to do it if they don't get the 5,000. I mean, if you look at it, they obviously have sunk a fair amount of money in creating this elaborate production model. If you go on things like Facebook, you can see they're dumping tons of money into advertising. I get ads popping up for it all the time when I go to Facebook now, linking to the HasLab site. So they're spending a lot of money on advertising. Of course, they're not coming to websites like mine to advertise, but they just kind of expect us to promote it for free. But they are definitely spending a lot of money, it seems, on social media. And then they're also already announcing, like you can tell they're planning to do figures based around this playset. At Toy Fair, they announced a new Yak Face figure, and this week they announced that they're doing a new Skiff Guard figure. So, you know, I find it hard to believe they would go to all that and then not do the playset. So I would still recommend, if you definitely want it, to go on and get it through HasLab. But I do suspect that even, you know, once they push it through, they will end up offering it to retailers to sell. So I don't think this will be the only way you end up getting it, but it may be even more expensive if they go that route. Okay, now switching gears, MediaCom this week, this is non-Toy Fair news, they announced this week that they're going to be doing a Maifix figure based on the Kingsman movie. This is from the first movie, and it's an Eggsy figure. You know, kind of like I was talking about last week with John Wick. I don't know how exciting a figure based on this movie is. I like the first movie. Second movie was actually okay too, but it's just not something I've been dying for figures of. But if you were a huge fan of the movie and you do want figures, then it looks like MediaCom's going to meet your needs. Now this figure is set to stand 6.3 inches tall, come with interchangeable hands and heads. We'll have a rifle, a pistol, a shoe knife, and we'll have Gazelle's prosthetic leg, the lady from the first movie. So that'll be included with it as well, and that should see release by next December. On the DC Collectibles Dc Essentials front, we are getting a little more information beyond what we saw at Toy Fair for this line. So this is the comic book base line that's going to be in 7-inch scale that DC Collectibles is launching later this year. And this is only minor news, but I wanted to share with you guys. So the sculptor who works on this line, whose name is Paul Harding, he announced on Twitter this week that he has currently so far worked on 14 figures in the line. Now, 11 of those we've already seen, but that means there's 3 more figures that have yet to be revealed by DC Collectibles. Now, he does stress that he so far only worked on 14, indicating that there will be more to come, which, as long as the line sells, I'm sure that is the case. But the news here again is that there are 3 other figures that are coming that we've not yet seen. We had the 2 reveals at Toy Fair with Brainiac and the Black Manta figure. Now, basically, the 3 figures, so as it breaks down right now, we've got Batman and Deathstroke and Flash and Reverse Flash. Those are the first figures coming out, and those should be out in July. And then we've got the Superman figure, and they did change the Superman from the Rebirth version to the basically Red Trunks version, and the Rebirth one is no longer coming. But so Superman with the Red Trunks and Brainiac, as well as Aquaman and Black Manta, those figures are slated to come out in August. And then the 3 figures that we saw during San Diego Comic-Con but have yet to be solicited include Wonder Woman, Nightwing, and Hal Jordan Green Lantern. Now, with 3 more figures to come, we can basically conclude that those will be villain figures, since they are basically pairing a hero up with a villain with each of these. So I'm guessing that Wonder Woman will likely see a pairing with Cheetah. That seems like to make the most sense to me. Now, that's not confirmed. This is just my guess. Hal Jordan Green Lantern, the most logical pairing would be a Sinestro figure. Now, Nightwing is the totally unknown to me. Normally, if you ask me who I would pair Nightwing up with, it would be Deathstroke. But Deathstroke has already been paired up with Batman, probably because of the movie and everything. So I don't know who they're going to pair Deathstroke, or I don't know who they're going to pair Nightwing up with. It could really be anybody. I mean, obviously he's got a lot of other villains, but none just like, oh, that's villains, or that's Nightwing's arch nemesis comes to mind to me. So I really don't know. There could be an infinite number, including many from Batman's own rogue gallery. So again, we'll just have to wait and see what that is. Hopefully that will be solicited maybe next month. I'm guessing those figures will probably be released in September or September, October, depending on how they break them up. I mentioned this last week, but forgot, got kind of lost in the overall Toy Fair shuffle. But last weekend, while Toy Fair was going on here in the United States, the Wonderfest convention was taking place overseas, and Kyoto introduced a new Amazing Yamaguchi Batman figure. So they'd been doing Marvel figures with this Amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech line, but now it looks like they're expanding out into DC figures, and the first one they're doing is Batman. Now, overall, I think this looks pretty cool. It definitely looks like a pretty buff Batman, but that's pretty much in keeping with these Yamaguchi figures if you've been following the Marvel ones. And the one thing that people seem to be most unhappy about, and I've kind of mixed on it, is the cape. Now, it incorporates that kind of articulated cape like we saw with the Magneto figure, and some people were not terribly fond of that. I will say that the cape is nice for dynamic poses like you see in these images. It does make the figure heavy. It does oftentimes make the figure hard to stand. But again, that's what these figures are kind of made for, is these kind of dynamic poses. So I really, I like the cape on my Magneto in that one kind of pose where he's like holding, doing his powers and stuff, kind of like mimicking from the Marvel vs. Capcom game. And so I think the cape works well, or like a sweeping type move. So I kind of like that, even though, yes, the cape was kind of a pain to put on and have the figure keep standing and stuff because it makes him so top heavy. But I kind of like that look overall with those certain poses. But again, I know a lot of you are not fond of the articulated plastic cape, so I guess if you're going to get Batman, you'll just have to deal with it. There have been third parties I've seen making capes for, soft good type capes with wiring that you can kind of switch out and use on these figures. So they did it with the Magneto figure, so I'm sure they'll do it with Batman as well. I don't have a lot of details on this figure. Again, it was just shown at the convention, so I don't have release dates or anything like that. The images shown were unpainted prototypes, obviously. These images come from a website called TAC, so and they took some really nice pictures of it, and I'll put a link to them in the video description as well. Okay, and then finally, I wanted to talk to you guys about Toys R Us, the once and mighty toy retailer. So you're probably aware last year Toys R Us ended up declaring bankruptcy because they were having some serious financial issues and going to try and restructure and everything and come back stronger and better than ever. And with that, we got an announcement last month that they were going to be doing store closings, basically 200 store closings. They put a list out of the stores that would be closing. Those closings were expected to begin this month and into next month. And I've already seen over the last few weeks people posting pictures of their local store with the going out of business signs on them and everything as they clearance all their inventory out. So that is definitely happening. But this week, it looks like things are even getting worse for the retailer, as it was announced that they're looking to close an additional 180 stores on top of the 200 that they were already closing. We don't know which stores those will be, and that's not even 100% confirmed. It's the reports from Wall Street Journal said that they're looking to, so they're not actually confirmed to close those yet, but I would say it's probably a very good bet. And then, of course, like I said, they haven't released any kind of list of what stores those would be, so, you know, if your store is on that list, I don't know yet. My stores, the stores around here, survived the first cut. But I would not be surprised if some of these, my store that's closest to me, like 10 minutes away, they just never have anything new in stock. You know, it's hardly ever worth going in there, as I know many of you feel the same way about your local store, which is why one of the reasons why they're probably in the situation they're in. But you know, we'll probably hear more in the next few weeks. And then the other thing was, there's been some reports of bad news coming out of the UK for Toys R Us. I've heard some reports indicating that they're going to be shutting down completely in the UK. That's not confirmed, but whatever this news about the UK is supposed to be announced, an official announcement is supposed to be made next week, so we'll have to wait and see. But if they totally close from the UK, if they close all their stores in the UK and they close up another 180 stores here in the United States, I've got to be honest, I don't see this retailer surviving much longer. You know, my feeling has kind of been that their days are numbered anyway, but originally I was thinking they probably could stretch it out for at least another 5 years or so. But at this rate, you know, I'm only giving them 2 to 3 years, you know, like I said, at this rate, if they do go through with all these different closings and everything. Time will tell. We'll have to see. It's hard to say how that'll exactly impact the industry overall. Not really a good thing, I would say. Obviously, a lot of people losing their jobs, which is always bad. But then, you know, Toys R Us owes these companies like Hasbro and Mattel and all these companies, they owe them a lot of money, which is why they declared bankruptcy. And if they end up going completely out of business, they'll probably, those toy companies will probably never see that money. So, you know, that's not good for them. And then, of course, obviously, if they close, that'll be less places that they'll have to sell their toys in the future. So definitely not a good sign for the toy industry, but we'll have to see how it plays out. And, you know, I'll be sure to update you guys once we get more information on that. Okay, so that's it for today's news video. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you looking forward to a Stan Lee Build-A-Figure? And are you looking forward to having to buy 3 2-packs to do it? Also, you know, if you haven't already, please like this video and hit that subscribe button down below. I'm closing in on 40,000 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed, please do. I'd really appreciate it. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I will catch you later.